Hey, welcome to another episode of the Newbie Tank Build series. Thank you all so much for watching. Mark, Mr. Saltwater Tank, is in Australia right now, so it's just me this week, and I've asked you to submit questions here on YouTube and through email. You've done just that, so let me do my best to answer them. Let's get right into it. Okay, this question comes from Ryan Crow on YouTube. His question is, what surprised you most about setting up and maintaining your tank? It wasn't so much about the setup and maintaining that surprised me. What surprised me the most was how much my wife enjoys it. I wasn't really expecting her to be as excited and as involved as she's become. So we really enjoy going to our local fish store together, dreaming about what we're gonna put in the tank next. And it's really become a very cool family thing. We visit the tank every morning when we get up, and then when she comes home from work, we come in, visit the tank again, see what's been going on there, and we talk about it. It's very cool. So thank you for that question. All right, the next question comes from Kenny Arnault on YouTube, and he asks, when are you going to set up some automation, either Apex or Hydros? And the answer to the question is, I don't know when. I'm kind of just following along with what Mark says, but it's certainly a goal, and we will have videos here when we do automation. This question comes from OU812 Reefing on YouTube, love the name. It says, Jimmy, is your reef tank living up to your expectations? And what do you think your next upgrade might be? So is it living up to my expectations? It is exceeding my expectations. I absolutely love it. It's super cool. I'm finding that I spend more and more time in here, just laying on my couch looking at it. And then my maintenance, I've been spending more time, kind of cleaning it, keeping the sand clean, doing water changes, because I actually really enjoy that. I don't know that I always enjoy cleaning it, but yeah, it is definitely exceeding my expectations. And what do I think my next upgrade will be? I think that I'm looking to do some automation, and I don't know if it's an upgrade, but I definitely want to add more fish.
I think upgrade should be a bubbler.
A bubbler? Okay, let's go back to that last question, because my wife heard me saying, what's my next upgrade? And she goes, I think it should be a bubbler.
I said it's all corals, no fish, critters, castles, or bubblers.
Those are the things you want? You want some fish and some castles and bubblers. And so we're thinking maybe a little plastic scuba diver guy with a bubbler tube going to him, or maybe a volcano like in the, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not gonna do that. In this tank. Okay, this question comes from Brian King. Brian is from Sedalia, Missouri. He says, is there a good nano skimmer that's very good for a 25-gallon nano tank? That's kind of a Mr. Saltwater Tank question. One, I don't have any experience with nano tanks, but because you asked that question, and I am a former Walt Disney World guest relations cast member, we were not allowed to say, I don't know the answer to that question. The correct answer for me is, let me find out for you. So, Brian, that's a great question, and I'm gonna get you the answer. So let's see if we can get someone at SaltwaterAquarium.com to answer that question for you.
Hi folks, I'm Greg, I'm the customer service manager here at SaltwaterAquarium.com, and Jimmy kicked us one of our questions from his video feed there. Folks asking what's the best nano skimmer to work in like a 25-gallon or less tank, and honestly, there's not a lot of great ones out there. If I was going to pick one, I'd look at the Tunzi line. There's a 9001 and a 9004, but honestly, for a nano aquarium, the best thing you can do, even better than a skimmer, water changes.
Okay, here comes the question. This one comes from James Whitaco. He submitted, and I'm not sure if this is a serious question or if this is a let's test Jimmy's knowledge question. This question is, what is the recommended salinity, and is that read from a refractor meter or a specific gravity meter? So what is the correct salinity? Well, I have a little Nano tester. Actually, let me go grab it. Found it. So this is what I use. I use this Nano salinity tester, put it in there, it measures salinity and temperature, and I tried to get right around 35.0. But actually, let's test right now and see what we get. Put my Nano salinity checker in there, and I am at 35.1 ppt and 77.3 degrees Fahrenheit. So yeah, I love that. That's right where Mark told me to be. So that's that. Okay, this question comes via email from Michael Howell. Thank you for the question. His question is, I'm wondering if you ran into any algae or pest issues, like green hair algae, dinos, aptasia, etc. If I've run into any of that so far. And the second part of his question is, if so, how did you handle it? If not, you're the man. So am I the man? Well, no, I think everybody runs into algae, and here's what I did to take care of it. I did have some algae that was like hair-like algae, and then it started growing on the rocks a lot. So I got out the very specialty tools. Yeah, that's right. I got in there and I scrubbed away with the toothbrush, got it off the rocks, and then I did a water change and vacuumed the bottom, and that got a lot of it out, but it came right back. So I did it again like 2 or 3 days later, and it kind of came right back. So I did it again 2 or 3 days later, each time about a 15-gallon water change out of my 180 gallons. And then it seemed to kind of take care of it. The other things that I've done is I've reduced the amount of light. So I changed the light in my tank schedule to come on an hour later, go off an hour earlier. So it's 2 hours less light a day. And then a few times I've turned the lights off in the middle of the day for 5 or 6 hours to just kind of help not grow as much algae. And then the other thing, my wife picked up a sea cucumber, and you can see him kind of dig up the sand and leave little piles of clean white sand. So he eats some of the sand. And then she also picked up a diamond goby, and the diamond goby would go in there. He'd eat all the sand and leave little piles of clean sand and get some of that algae off there. Those were two things that really helped us. But the diamond goby went missing. I told my fish store after he'd only been in there a week or two, and they're like, oh, he's hiding, he's hiding. Well, I've never seen him again, and he wasn't there on the floor, so I'm not sure what happened to the diamond goby. He's not in there anymore. But yeah, so I think everybody runs into a diatom bloom or gets some type of algae, and some of it, Mark says, hey, don't worry, because I text him when it looks like a crisis, and he's like, you know, it's normal, it's normal. He goes, what do you see when we're out diving? Is there ever algae in the sand? And I'm like, yeah, I guess there is. He's like, yeah, just, you know, unless it's terrible, don't worry about it too much. But I did do those water changes, and that took care of it. Great question, because I think everyone runs into it. Thanks, Mike. Okay, this next question comes via email from Lester Lloyd. He says, have you seen any invertebrates you want to add to your system? And if so, what are your favorites? So yeah, I have added some. I had mentioned the sea cucumber before. Is he an invertebrate? No spine. I would call him an invertebrate. I have some different sea stars in here, and my favorite would probably be the guy I added just about 4 months ago, the blood shrimp in there. He's got a bright red color, and he's been doing really good. I'll add some more, maybe some sponges next. But yeah, I like the critters. So different invertebrates. I definitely will add some more. So keep watching, because I'm not sure what's going to go in next, but that I always consult with Mark and with my fish store, because I'm still learning. And I've got a spreadsheet now that my wife keeps, so that we try to keep it a friendly environment in there as we introduce different things. Hopefully they'll all play nice. So that's something we take into consideration with anything we're adding to our system. Yeah, thanks for the question. This is from Lee Pappas on YouTube. He asked this question that someone asked earlier about, am I going to add any automation, Apex or Hydros? I think I've already answered it, but yes, I definitely am. Lee, I'm going to add automation. We are going to do an episode on it in the very hopefully near future, because I've got a little bit of travel coming up and I'd like to get some of that automation installed so that I can monitor while I'm away and do things like that. Okay, this next one is a 3-part question from Jumbawana off of YouTube. Great screen name. What is your next tank going to be? Which is awesome, because Mark always says, you know, you think your tank's big, but soon it won't be and you'll want a bigger one. Well, that's true. I do want a bigger one, but the more I think about it is I don't really have the proper space for a larger tank in my house unless I went on this wall over here and eliminated something in my office. I like this particular room in my house because it's on the main level and can support the weight without having to worry too much about going bigger, like 1,000 gallons or something upstairs like what Mark has. But my next tank will more than likely be something in my room, my bedroom, upstairs, and it would be smaller. And I think it would be cool to do like the dentist tank from Finding Nemo, you know, the plastic plants and the volcano and, you know, the cool fish. Although I know I can't put a Moorish idol in there with, you know, some of the things that were in the fish tank, but these guys, I think they all look really cool. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but you know, that would be pretty sweet. So I really don't know what my next tank is, but he did ask 3 parts to the question. The next one is, are there any holy grail fish that I have planned, any fish that I'm looking for? And I may have mentioned this earlier, I really would like to get an emperor angelfish. I think it's awesome, and it's the logo for SaltwaterAquarium.com. We use that fish in our animation coming in and out. That's pretty cool looking fish. Some tangs, I am always attracted to them. Maybe like the fish I like are like a parrotfish and a puffer, but Mark's like, oh, it'll eat your corals, and this one will do that. So, you know, I'll see what plays nice, but probably, you know, a yellow tang and an emperor angelfish. Those are 2 on my wish list. And then the last question that Jumbawana asked is, could you beat up Mark? The answer is yes. I most certainly can beat up Mark.